the Nancy Bluebird of Montana show, and we're at the Wingate Motel here in Missoula. And tonight we have the Missoula Cultural Council with us, and this is our guest speaker tonight. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about what's going to go on tonight, because I'm sort of in the dark, guys. You know, I mean, this was a spare of the moment thing. But John, why don't you, state your...
Okay, my name is John Hampton. I'm a businessman from Portland, Oregon. I'm a lumber manufacturer. And we have 3 lumber mills in Oregon and 3 lumber mills in Washington. I was invited to come over to talk to the luncheon tomorrow, which is celebrating its first anniversary by giving 6 awards to individuals and companies that have done extraordinarily helpful things to art and culture in the Missoula area. We have been a member of the Business Committee of the Arts in Portland for many, many years. And they do extraordinary things in bringing to the attention of the public the value of the arts to our communities. And that is their primary mission, is how to get more businesses involved in helping their employees participate, whether it's by volunteering or whether it's by contributing to support arts and cultural institutions. Secondly, a favorite theme of mine is that the states are providing a very minuscule amount of money to cultural institutions in most areas. The state of Oregon was 50th in contributions from the state to arts and cultural institutions a couple of years ago, and now I think we've crept up to 49th. That is not very exciting. And they tend to, legislatures, when they get to the state level, tend to be concerned about balancing the budget, and if we happen to have a recession in the economy, it is very damaging to the arts institutions to have the rug jerked out from under them. And we are working in Oregon to try to provide a more stable level of funding that the arts organizations can depend on. And we have developed what is known as the Oregon Cultural Trust, which intends to build an endowment which will serve the arts communities of some $200 million over a 10-year period, if we can get the legislators to cooperate.
Do you think something like that's going to happen here in Missoula?
I am not familiar enough with the funding levels to know whether or not it's needed, and I'm not familiar enough with the political situation to know whether or not it's feasible.
Well, I know for myself. I sing with the VSA choir, and it's very special arts, for disabilities, and it just seems like every time, like you said, legislature, and they have a problem in the government or something, right away, the arts are cut.
They cut the budgets to the arts.
Yeah.
And the arts organizations cannot live on feast or famine. It doesn't work that way.
Right. And I know for myself, that's why I do my show, is an open showcase of the arts. And when Mark Matthews, told me about this, I thought, yeah, that's right up my alley.
That's good.
I think my viewers need to know, what other states are doing to preserve the arts.
Well, I think you're doing a great public service by taking the arts out into the areas so that more people see them and get exposed to them.
Right.
We have a weekly program in Oregon that is sponsored largely by donations, but also by the Oregon Public Broadcast System, which puts on special features that explain what artists and poets and musicians are doing that is of keen interest in the community. So by exposing those kind of outcomes to the public, I think we can get them to support this kind of activity, which will stabilize the funding.
Well, I'm more happy to hear for you speak tonight. And
I'm not speaking tonight.
Not speaking
no.
tonight.
I'm saving myself for tomorrow. I'm just getting over a bad case of bronchitis. So if I had to try out for a vocal part in the opera tonight, I would fail.
Right. Well, it's nice to meet you. And And
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and keep up the good work.
and I'll be at the luncheon tomorrow.
Great.
So and MCAT will be filming that.
Excellent.
Personally.
Well, I look forward to seeing the film when they develop it.
Okay, we'll send
Thank
you a
you.
copy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nancy.
And here we have one of our artists, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's going to get an award.
uh-huh.
Oh boy, I bet you're excited.
I am. This is a wonderful thing.
And your name is
Cheryl Nothi.
Elsie, and I understand that you're a writer and also you're a teacher.
Yes, I'm a poet, and it was a teacher in 5th grade that inspired me to become a writer. And so I founded the Missoula Writing Collaborative in 1994. And right now we're in 10 schools, and we're moving up onto the reservation. And a tribal youth court is our next big outreach program. And we teach children to love language like writers do.
Yeah, that's funny that Mark pointed you out as a poet, because I do, for my show, it's an open showcase of the arts.
Oh.
And what I do is I've gone into like Big Sky, Mrs. Evans' class.
Yeah.
I've done always the art things, and stuff. And she messed me up this year already, because there was one, and the beginning was, and I sort of missed it, so I only get 3 this year. So, but and I do my own writing. I do short stories and poems of my own. So, but I started at a later age.
Doesn't matter. May Sarton started, her first book was published when she was 80. So we have a long...
Is it hard to get something published in Missoula?
Publishing anywhere is incredibly difficult. Yes.
So have you had anything published?
I have 3 books.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And what are they?
2 of them are my own poetry, The Descent of Heaven Over the Lake and The Ghost Openings.
Oh my goodness.
And The Ghost Openings won the 2001 William Stafford Award for Best Book of Poetry. And then I have a teaching text called Poetry Everywhere, and I'm working on a sequel to it.
Sounds good. So do you teach all levels or certain?
All levels, yes.
All levels?
Yes.
So maybe I can get you out there and
You should come and visit.
Cool.
Sure.
and do some of the kids.
They'd love it.
Would they love that?
They do.
Okay, I'll get you my business card and
Okay.
we'll work on that
All right.
before you leave tonight.
Oh yeah, you should definitely see 4th and 5th graders get up and read their poetry.
I've been really wanting to do that. So it looks like in the future we're going to have some, 4th and 5th graders, coming out. So just let me know and we'll set something up.
Okay.
Try to set something up before the school year ends.
Okay, we have a while.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Okay, and here is Robert Lee. And Robert Lee, you can tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I guess the reason I'm here this evening is that they presented John Hampton with my book. I wrote Guiding Elliot, kind of a humorous look at fishing in the guiding business here in Missoula, and published by Lyons Press in 1997, and fortunately still out there today.
So, you excited about tomorrow?
Oh, I am. I'm so happy that Cheryl's getting a recognition that she deserves. I'm also a writer and a teacher in the Missoula Writing Collaborative, and I work with the students in the schools, and I work kind of for Cheryl, and I think she started a wonderful thing in doing that, and has kept it up very well.
Now, we were talking to Cheryl earlier, and I guess we're going to get out to the schools and start getting some of the kids. See, my show is an open showcase of the arts, and I think it's great to see young people, get out there and start doing something in the arts, no matter what. It's writing, dancing, music, whatever it is.
Well, you can't imagine how exciting it is. I just taught a class over at Paxson School yesterday afternoon, and the kids had 15 minutes to read a poem, And in that 15 minutes, to write a poem, they wrote a poem in 15 minutes, which I, as a poet, think is just about impossible. And then they stood up 16 of them in a row and read to their peers with great excitement and wonderful reception. It was terrific, and it always seems to happen that way.
Now, when you teach these classes, do you sort of like give them a topic, or do you give them inspiration on something to write about?
Right. Cheryl actually wrote a book called Poetry Everywhere, and it was written for teachers, and it has a lot of different assignments, if you will, that you can start out and give kids ideas. I remember poems, or I used to, but now poems, or just any number of assignments. Those are the two I'm thinking of. And the kids just glom on. As soon as you give them an idea, they take off and run with it in surprising ways every time. And it's quite a book that Cheryl wrote also.
I'm going to have to get that book. I mean, I got a gift certificate for Christmas for Barnes & Noble. I'm going to have to go look up that book. And
yeah, I highly recommend that because even if you want to write yourself, it gives you great ideas.
Well, for my shows, I'm a short story writer and I'm a poet. I haven't had anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. I had 2 published things. Just 2 poems. But other than that, no book or nothing fantastic. But I want to further my writing career a little bit. I'm sort of like dry right now. I'm not getting in it, but I think that book would probably really help me.
Well, we all need inspiration. I think the greatest thing about what the collaborative does is we go into the schools and just show kids that the idea of writing exists. And I like to say to them that if someone had come into my school, perhaps I would have published my first book before I was 50 years old.
I was just wondering, too, you yourself, what do you find more difficult as a writer? Is fiction or nonfiction?
I'm a fiction writer. I guess I'm more at ease inventing the story. I do write personal essays, so I'm not strictly one genre, but I think I'm more at home with the fictional character.
And what do you find your students do, the fiction or the nonfiction?
Well, mostly what I'm teaching in the schools right now is poetry, and so they're writing poems. A lot of the kids, what I try to stretch them a little bit because they want to talk about the true things that happened, and I try to get them to talk about when they were in their mother's belly before they were born, things like that, and then reach a little bit with their imagination.
Yeah, I know for myself, it's really hard for me to write fiction, and I don't know why. But maybe it's because when you get older, you got so much stuff in the past, or something. But it's really hard for me to write fiction. I've done a little bit, but not much.
See, I think we write, whether we're writing fiction or nonfiction, we're trying to find our truth, what we believe about things, and some of us do it better hiding in another character, and some of us do it better just facing it head on.
Well, it's been really great to
thank you very much.
And I'll be seeing you in school.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Thank you.
He had two other guests, but as I understand, there's going to be more coming. So, they've got a beautiful buffet, and I think what I'm going to do is grab a little to eat and just rest, and we'll be right back. Jeff, I've seen you around town, I think.
I hope so. I used to be the director of the redevelopment agency for the city.
Ah, you were at...
MRA.
Yeah, you were at my Ward 1, talking about the new thing that's coming in.
We're talking about telecommunications at the downtown neighborhood meeting?
Right.
Yes, that's right. I was there. That's where that was me.
Okay. So what is... I didn't want to say this, but what is your purpose here tonight?
I'm going to be a recipient of an award tomorrow.
You are?
Yes. I'm going to be... Well, I'm one of the non-artistic people. The redevelopment agency, while I was there, did a lot of work to both create public art and to create venues for artists. And the award I'm going to get tomorrow is in recognition of that work.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'm glad you came over here.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah. And how does it look for the city coming up with that communication?
Well, that's going to be a challenge because technology is always changing, and that's the hardest thing to get our hands around. And getting all the people who provide communication services on the same page is very difficult. We have a lot of very competent, capable, energetic entrepreneurs who are in the communications business, and finding a way for the city to harness that energy so that it can be used productively for the benefit of the community, that's the challenge. That's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, I hear you. Even doing this tonight is a challenge for me.
Well, I see you've got some of the high-tech equipment.
Yeah.
Cordless mics and.
Yeah, it's MCAT's equipment.
Very good.
And I have the show on the TV. It's an open showcase of the arts. I go around all over Missoula, and I bring art into the home of people that maybe or can or cannot get out to see the art.
And when is your program on?
It generally runs a Thursday and a Saturday, and it's like it varies. It depends on when I get done and edited and stuff, So because I have to have a show almost done before I can schedule it.
I understand that.
But look for me on the air.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, thanks.
Judith Jedlicka cannot make it either tonight or tomorrow because she couldn't get out of her driveway today, and even if she got to LaGuardia Airport, she couldn't get on a plane. But the phone's going to ring in a little while, and she's going to say hello to you anyhow. So the last time I had food and drink with John and Judith, he was decked out in his tux, and all of these people in their fish and chips on the Forbes yacht cruising around Manhattan when John was presented with the National Leadership Award by the Business Committee for the Arts. Marvin Hamlish, you've heard of him, was part of that, and Judith was there too. So everybody was decked out. Now, they were serving...
Including you.
What?
Including you.
I had shoes on. They were serving imported beers, and you can imagine the wines, imported wines, in crystal goblets. And there was foie gras, and there was standing rib roast on the finest china. You notice here tonight we have bison chili on paper plates, and moose drool, and cups. They don't, but we have warm hearts here also, John, in spite of it. So it's quite a change, and you're all going to enjoy what John has to say tomorrow, because there is a good reason why he won that award. And it wasn't just because he has been such a generous personal supporter of the arts. His particular interests in Portland are the opera, where he helped raise $25 million, and the art museum. Laura, you'll get your chance later on to see how he did it. You've been to the art museum there, haven't you? Well, John is largely responsible for the new building that they have there.
No.
No?
I'll correct that after a minute. I'll see you later.
All right. But you certainly were partly responsible for the Cultural Trust in Oregon, which you're going to talk about tomorrow, right?
Yes and no.
Okay, yes. I'll go for 50% right anytime. That's better than my average, isn't it, Herb? Judith was here before in Missoula, and as a matter of fact, we had a reception one evening for her at Herb and Mary Jane's house, and she is really disappointed that she can't get here. But as I said, the phone's going to ring in a little while, and she's going to at least say hello. I'm glad all of you people came. Did you see the story in the Missoulian this morning about Gerald Doty? Wasn't that nice? He will be at the luncheon tomorrow, as will most of the previous award winners, too. Does everybody know everybody else here? I keep forgetting, that we don't. Well, among our award winners here tonight are Cheryl Nothey, who you will see tomorrow, and thank you. And Jeff Badnock. And we have, yes, I'm getting to Bruce in a minute. We have two new awards this year, and those are being awarded by the Business Committee for the Arts. And the first two winners are Southgate Mall and Rockin' Rudy's. As you know, Missoula is now affiliated with the National Business Committee for the Arts, which was formed in 1967 by David Rockefeller. And the purpose, I was thinking about the big merger today between J.P. Morgan and those other guys. Yeah. Look out, First Interstate Bank, they're going to get you one of these days. And the purpose, David Rockefeller did that in order to create meaningful partnerships between the businesses and the arts and cultural organizations. Not just a transfer of money from the businesses to the arts, but meaningful partnerships in which the businesses can actually profit by their participation in the arts. And you are going to hear about that tomorrow too, and more in the future. There's Judith now. Good thing, otherwise I'd be preaching to you. Good evening. It is Mark. Hang on, I'm going to push the button, if I can find it. No? Are we hearing anything? I can hear you, but nobody else here can. They're all sitting here drinking moose drool and Kimberly came up here.
Tell her, we're going to put her on hold. Okay? Is she talking?
Yeah, she's here. She knows what she's doing. I don't.
Okay, I'm going to put her on hold.
Right.
Okay, now.
You take over.
Hello? Uh-oh. Hello?
Kimberly.
Yes, Judith.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent.
Good.
Nice to hear you. Okay, well, now we're going to turn up your volume.
All right.
So Judith was here
How's
before.
that?
She visited down in the...
Can you talk to me now?
Sure.
Okay.
How are you guys doing out there? Have you got a good gathering together this evening?
Yes, we do. We have about 40 people here, and John is a lovely man. Thank you.
Oh, really welcome. I'm delighted that he was able to do it. You and I'm sorry that I can't be with you. I'm on Long Island at the moment, 50 miles outside of New York City, and the temperature has just dipped to -3 degrees.
-3 degrees in New York City.
Well, not New York City, about 50 miles outside on Long Island.
You know, we do that all the time here, though, Judith.
I know you do, but for us...
That's quite a feat.
For us, it's quite a feat. In fact, we're setting 100-year records, they tell us tonight.
100-year record in New York time.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I just wanted to say hi to everybody there.
She says hi.
And I wanted to, salute the award winners. Tomorrow, the 6 individuals receiving awards.
She's saluting all the award winners.
Right, and I wanted to congratulate you on the progress that you've all been making in the past year since I was last there. I'm delighted that you got your 8 charter investors lined up. And Mark was saying that every call was a successful call, and I think that's quite wonderful.
And I think between Jim and Mark, you're going to be even more thrilled.
That's great. That's great. Is there anything that anyone there would like to ask or...
Does anybody have any questions for Judith?
Other than the weather. Starting to think of the new plans for the memorial.
What do you think of the new plans for the memorial?
Well, as all of you know, they're terribly controversial because there are lots and lots of different points of view coming into play, but I think the overall concept of the one element that goes to the sky which is not inhabited and leaving some open space on the footprint seems to be the predominant train of thought at the moment, and I personally think it's a good one.
She thinks it's good.
It's a tough situation, but I think with Maya Lin endorsing the concept, and I think we all have great regard for her design at the Vietnam memorial. I'm sort of putting my trust in her vision.
People are very comforted that Maya Lin is a part of the design and things of that nature. So she feels that things are going to go smoother than what?
Ratan Gregorian was the lead chair of the committee.
Who?
Gregorian, the former...
Did Gregorian chair the committee, Judith?
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he did. And he and the committee, I can't remember all of the members of it, but it was a very, very well-balanced, very prestigious group of individuals.
It was a very well-balanced and prestigious group of individuals.
You know, the final decision. Can you hear me?
Do you have any instructions
Do I have any instructions?
for John Hampton? He's right here.
Well, I know John is going to do a wonderful, wonderful, inspiring job tomorrow. I have no instructions because he's probably better at giving me instructions. But I wanted everybody to know my thoughts are with him. And I promise to come out at some point in time when, you know, something else wonderful is happening in the city and be part of it.
Well, thank you, Judith.
All right. Thanks, and have a great evening and a wonderful, wonderful luncheon tomorrow.
Thanks, Judy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, guys.
She's a wonderful lady, and her heart's in the right place. Here in Missoula. We're just 2,500 miles away. Would you keep that thing out of my... And Nancy is her buddy filming all of this. Nancy Bartlett is doing a feature on our luncheon tomorrow and tonight's assembly here. You're going to keep it clean? There's no...
MCAT's doing tomorrow. I'm not.
All right.
I'll be there, but I'm not filming.
Nancy does produce for MCAT, and I sometimes mix the two up. She did a great job for us with our train when I was down at the mall. And MCAT will be filming the entire luncheon tomorrow, and we're going to make that available to Judith Jedlicka for the other BCA members around the country, and for John's friend Virginia Willard, who is the executive director of the Northwest Business Committee for the Arts. So we're going to get the word out on this too. I think we'll have some other media people there tomorrow. But thank you for coming tonight and sharing this with us.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Now, can I get out of there?
That's okay.
Yes, I'm Kimberly Roth. I am on the board of directors of the Missoula Cultural Council.
I'm Jim Betty, and I do what Mark tells me to do, especially regarding the Business Committee for the Arts, and I'm also on the board.
Well, that's my role. I'm Donna Hyora, and I'm the web scribe for the MCC website, so I do what Mark tells me to do.
Hi, I'm Julie Betty, and I'm Jim's wife, and I do what he tells me to do.
I'm Linda Tracy, and I'm also on the board of the MCC.
I'm John Hampton. I'm your speaker for tomorrow, and I feel I'm getting a very warm welcome, especially from this bison stew.
Herbert Zwick on the board of the Missoula Cultural Council.
His wife, Marilyn.
We're very honored and so pleased to be involved with the Cultural Council, which we've been involved with for a long, long time.
So what's the business?
Rockin' Rudy's.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
My son-in-law works there.
He does? Who's that?
John Arvish.
John Arvish has been there for We're all connected. And that's the best thing about Missoula and Montana is we're all connected, and it's quite an honor. We're very pleased.
Yeah, I thought when he started teaching, I thought he'd give you guys up, but he hasn't yet.
No, and he works for us right when we need him. He's a great Christmas help. He works in the music department. He's been involved with MCT and does all the children's camps. And it's such a great thing to be able to have a business where we have local people like John that are part of our operation, and it's part of the community, and we really enjoy being part of our community.
Well, thanks. I'm just going to have to, surely he gets a copy of this tape.
but no raise.
And now you know why Rocking Rudy's is getting an award. I'm Ron Perrin. I'm a member of the board also.
My name is Cheryl Nothi, and I direct the Missoula Writing Collaborative, a writers in residence program in 11 Missoula schools, and I'm also a poet. I'm mostly a poet, and I'm also very honored, and thank you.
Yeah, we'll see Susan. Is it Susan?
Me? Yeah, Cheryl.
Cheryl. We'll see Cheryl and this guy,
Robert, later on in the year.
I'm Robert Lee, and I'm mostly a writer, but I'm most proud of working for Cheryl in a writing collaborative.
My name's Bob Raella, and I'm Cheryl Nothi's consort.
That's nice.
There you go.
My name's Mary Rooney, and I'm on the board of the Missoula Cultural Council.
Paul Ritter on the Missoula Cultural Council board.
I'm Jeff Badnock. I'm the former director of the Missoula Redevelopment Agency, and on behalf of the MRA board and the city of Missoula and our community, who I worked for 21 years, I'll be accepting an award tomorrow.
I'm Tom Webster. I'm on the Missoula Cultural Council also.
And I'm Lori Webster.
Thank you all.
I'm Mark Johnson. I'm the honorary bartender for tonight. I'm also on the Missoula Cultural Council board. In that order.
I'm Mark Martin, and I'm always amazed at how modest the directors of the Missoula Cultural Council are when they introduce themselves. Mary is in charge of our Sister City Committee for Palmerston North and participated in a video conference with our friends down there on Monday. We were talking about the cultural tour that we'll be doing down there, and Mary is very active in that. Paul Ritter is not just a supervisor, he is our past president of the Missoula Cultural Council, and will be the master of ceremonies tomorrow because Michael Marsalik and his new wife are down there in New Zealand honeymooning right now. And they're getting a very warm welcome. I had a number of emails today from people in Palmerston North that have met them and are just delighted to learn more about what's going on here in Missoula, because there's a very real connection here, culturally and in business too. You know about the Montana World Trade Center doing an exhibit in Palmerston North that coincides with the cultural tour that we're going to be doing down there. John goes down to New Zealand fly fishing next week, aren't you?
That's right.
Goes down there every year.
The stress of this meeting is going
Don't worry, I'll finish talking before then, John. And Mark Johnson is the executive director of the Montana World Affairs Council and was largely responsible for bringing Frank Hodsell last year for our thing. So these people are just so modest that it shames me. Now, I set you up.
Don't worry. Laura Millen, director of the Art Museum of Missoula, and also a member of the MCC board, which I have been off and on for many years, I think, since its inception. I'm really excited about tomorrow's award ceremony. I think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's really building and growing in a really wonderful way with the BCA connection, and the businesses being recognized. And I just think it's high time that we had a function like that to thank people for their hard work in the arts and support of the arts. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I already got the PSA.
Good. Well, yes, and tomorrow I might find a way to do that too. By backwards way of thanking Bruce for his support of the arts. The back of the Independent this week is a good example of Rockin' Rudy's support of the arts. He gave the back page to the Art Museum to help us advertise our annual fundraiser, which is on February 7th, and it is the 32nd annual art auction to benefit the Art Museum of Missoula. So we're hoping it's a big year because we have big things ahead for the museum. So I hope y'all can come.
Why don't you expound a little bit about the new reservations that are coming up in the museum?
The new reservations.
You know, you're going to be, that's what they said at my council meeting.
I know, but it's a big secret. We can't talk about that tonight. You have to come to the auction to find out.
Okay. Okay.
Did you hear the one about the, never mind. My name's Craig Mintier, and I'm Laura Milden's husband. And I'm a cultural worker and a self-employed design build guy.
And an artist.
Yeah, an artist, right. Cultural worker, right. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guess that's everybody.
Yeah.
It is, and I want to thank the Art Museum. Picture kits are really something. And we have tables sponsored tomorrow also, and some of the sponsors are here tonight. That is businesses who said, we'll sponsor a table, and you invite the artists. We'll have quite a few artists here tomorrow. Sheila Miles is coming, Myron Braya, and other artists who will be guests of our sponsoring businesses. So I really feel pretty happy about all of that connection coming together. John, I think you're going to learn something. You want to say something now? Go back to that guy and get him to talk.
No, he's got to save his voice.
He has to save his voice. We're talking. There's a lot of food left here.
Well, that's it for tonight. We're gonna wrap it up, and we'll be at the luncheon tomorrow. MCAT will be. So, keep watching MCAT and keep watching me. Bye.